The Fight Show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up and use the promo code SGPN.
Is a force of nature.
Just won 14 in a row. This is nuts. What he's doing is the stuff of legends, and he's just taken it to a whole new level.
Who can beat this guy?
It has to be Piotr Jan.
Piotr Jan is a savage.
He is so damn ruthless.
And he is a guy that can put anyone out.
I am the machine. Now I prove again.
One of the best pound-for-pound fighters.
Piotr Jan.
He's a pure predator.
He goes out there to do damage.
I'm the champion right here.
Alexandre Pantoja, the best in the world.
This man is one of the greatest of all time.
All he does is win, and he just keeps getting better.
Are you in for that now?
Joshua Bears.
He just continues to
Decimates his opposition. We go out with a bang.
You are listening to The Fight Show here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, covering the main fights from UFC 323. You can follow the Sports Gambling Podcast Network on X at the SGP Network. You can follow me on X. I'm the host of the Soccer Gambling Podcast, and the X account for that is at SGP Soccer. This is the last week of a merch holiday sale. Your last chance to get 25% off everything in the merch store by using the promo code HOLIDAY. Also, be sure to check out my Instagram. That is at Lock Betting. That is a hub for everything that I do. On my Instagram, you will find free play winners. You'll find betting information videos. It's a place to contact me if you have any questions. You can also contact me on my X account at SGP Soccer. But most importantly, it is a place where I post my publicly posted, transparent and tracked spreadsheets. All of my latest spreadsheets are there for my service, Lock Betting, which you can sign up for by heading over to lockbetting.com. Why should you do that? Why is it transparent and tracked? What am I trying to say here? What I'm saying here is that I haven't had a single losing month in sports betting for 150 months in a row. That's 12 and a half years without a single losing month in sports betting. Crazy claim, not really, because it's a fact. It's a transparent and tracked fact. It's transparent and tracked because I have spreadsheets for every single month, and it's tracked and publicly posted. So I do the tracking, I post it publicly. Before I do that, I send it to an adjudicator. Then I post it publicly once it's verified. And then the members who have been taking advantage of this service by investing in sports rather than gambling in sports, rather than giving their money to the sportsbook every week, making that donation, rather than following frauds on X, rather than going to Doc Sports and buying a $30 daily pass, rather than going to Wager Talk and spending $99 a week on their plays, rather than being roped into 4 and 5% plays or play of the week, play of the month, play of the years, whale plays by other people, rather than signing up for something like VSiN, which is never going to lead to you making any money. They decided instead to go to lockbetting.com, start investing in sports, start tailing the picks, and start making money every single month in sports betting. That's why they verify the spreadsheets, and that's why they leave the comments to let you guys know that this is where we are making that money every single month. You are listening to a gambling show right now. You clearly want to make money from sports betting. So why don't you start doing it? Why don't you just dip your toe in the water right now? And now is the best time, because I'm doing my first ever offer in 12 and a half years. I was talked into this. And this is because I want a huge number of people to take advantage of what we're doing in the NFL, where we have 10 winning weeks so far this year. We've never had a losing season in the NFL. We're 11-0. We've never had a losing month overall in sports betting when you get yourself the ultimate pack. We've got the World Cup coming up. We've just had the World Cup draw. I'm going to be doing a World Cup, very early World Cup preview over on the Soccer Gambling Podcast on Monday. So with all of that coming up, I want people to take advantage of this service now. And the way I'm going to entice you is by allowing you to sign up for half price. So all you need to do is head over to lockbetting.com and sign up for a soccer package. The soccer package is just soccer plays, and it's half the price of the Ultimate Pack. The Ultimate Pack is the package you see on the spreadsheets. But if you go right now and get yourself the soccer package for the month of December, you are going to get all of the plays for all of the sports. Now, don't try and be too clever. Don't think that you can wait until the end of December. What that means is that you are going to get the Australian Open tennis. You are going to get the NFL playoffs. No, that's not going to happen because this is only for December. So I've been saying this on the show already, and by waiting, you have lost out on 6 days of plays. And this has been a huge week for us. We've just had a very profitable soccer card. We had a very, very good Thursday night football. So you're missing out already on all of this shit. So don't wait any longer because this isn't going to carry over into January. You are missing vital days by not signing up. So head over to lockbetting.com, grab yourself the soccer package, and get yourself all of the plays. And even before you do that, pause the show right now. Go to the Instagram, have a look through the spreadsheets, have a look at the type of bets we do, the sports we bet on, and most importantly, how we manage a bankroll, because you still have time to pause it. You still have time to look through the spreadsheets. You still have time to do all that and be sold on the fact this is all true. Then you can just pay $50 for the soccer package. I will add you to the group and you will get plays tonight. You don't even have to wait until the NFL and just get the NFL plays tomorrow. You can get plays tonight and you can get the cards for a college football play I've got tonight from the Ohio State game going up against Indianapolis, and you can get the UFC 323 card. So there is no real reason to wait any longer. Pause the show, do your research, do your due diligence. I'm one of these people who's encouraging you to have a look through my records. I mean, fuck, these other guys, they don't even have records. They just go week to week. If they win, they talk about it. If they don't, sweep it under the rug. Let's go again. My history's all logged, 12 and a half years of it, dating back to 2013. And I'm proud of it. I don't have anything to sweep under the rug because I don't lose. So there you go. That's the pitch. It's your one chance to get it for half price. If you've been curious all this time, now you can get involved for half of the money. And I'm confident that you'll stay because I'm sure you're going to prefer making money rather than donating it to the sportsbook and losing it every week. So let's crack on with this edition of the Fight Show and look at these main fights going down tonight from UFC 323. We'll start with the main event. You heard the audio at the top of the show. This is probably not going to take me too long to cover. Merab Dvalishvili is fighting again. An incredible schedule that he's keeping at the moment, and he's rematching Peter Yan tonight. Merab is the 1-4 -400 favourite. Peter Yan is a 3-1 underdog. The over-under here is set at 4.5, so they very much expect this to go to the scorecards, and that's at 1-4 -400. So I wouldn't even say it's set there. That's the only plausible, even parlay piece that you have for the total for this fight. The method of victory market here sees Merab Dvalishvili to win this via decision at 1-2 -200. But there's real value on all other outcomes. TKO KO is at 7-1, and the submission is at 8-1. Peter Yan, 11-2 decision. 10-1 via TKO KO and 25-1 to get it done via a decision. I said this wouldn't take me long to cover because as good of a fighter as Peter Yan is, and Peter Yan really, really is a top tier fighter. He really was the only viable contender to go up against Merab right now, but it's still, for me, going to be a comfortable night for the champion. He heads into the UFC 323 main event tonight, looking to make history, looking to become the first champion to make 4 title defenses in a single calendar year. That's why it feels like we've been saying his name all year, Dvalishvili, because we have been. We've been talking about him constantly here on the Fight Show. We've landed a lock on him recently on the Fight Show. So he's a guy who's already beaten 3 top-class opponents here in 2025. outpaced number one contender Umar Nurmagomedov, earning a victory via decision. He earned a victory in his rematch with Sean O'Malley, this time putting him away in the third round via that submission. And he put on a takedown clinic against Corey Sandhagen, winning comfortably via a decision. Comes up against Jan tonight, already beaten him in 2023. He attempted 49 takedowns that night. He only landed 11 of them, and people are using that as a reason to make a case for Jan as an underdog. I'm definitely not there with that, even at this price of 3-1 or plus 350, because he still landed 11 and he's relentless and he's going to be going for those all night. And he also outstruck Jan 148-75, and striking is Jan's best route to victory. Jan has gone on a great run, and maybe that's what's making people believe he has some sort of chance here to put himself back in the title picture with 3 straight wins since losing to Darashvili. But none of those wins give me any reason to believe that at 32 years old, he can reverse his fortunes here. As I said, great fighter, very competent, very worthy of getting this rematch. But Merab Darashvili gets his 4th win in the calendar year. I think we are going to take him here in the handicap market, and it's juiced here as well. It's 8-13 for Merab Darashvili, -5.5. What this means is that you win if Merab gets a finish at any point here in the fight. But if it goes down to the scorecards, Merab is going to need to win relatively convincingly. Now, if every single judge has it 3-2 to Merab, that is only going to result in 48-47 across the cards, and that is a 3-point differential, and therefore will not cover a 5.5 handicap. What you need is a 6-point differential across those scorecards. So what you would need is for one judge to see it 4-1 in our guy's favour, another judge to see it 4-1 in our guy's favour as well, and the other one could then score it 48-47, because then that would give us the victory. If one judge sees it by 3 and we end up with 49-46, that would be 3 right there. But if the other 2 judges see it by just a single round, 3-2, 3-2, that's only a -5 and doesn't get you over the -5.5. So this handicap is very cleverly set to entice you in, because it's lower than it really should be. Because 5.5's a very weird line to cover. 6.5 would be more accurate, because we know that Merab would need to win by 7, which would be 3 on one scorecard, 3 on another scorecard, and then he can grind out the other scorecard by 1. I don't think any of this will be an issue, because I think Merab Darashvili is more than likely to cover a 14.5 handicap here, because I feel that he's going to be ahead by 5 rounds, 50-45 on every single scorecard, and that would cover a spread of -14.5. So, as I said, -5.5, really, really weird. You can't win this by 6 unless one is a tie, and then 2 judges give it to you by 3, which would be ridiculous. So, yeah, it's -6.5, really, because you need him to win here by 7. So you need him to be given 4 rounds by 2 of the judges, giving you a 6-round differential, and then one of the judges could see it differently and just give it to him 3-2. I don't think it's going to be as close as that. I think it's probably going to be 50-45, 50-45, 50-45, and maybe one judge gives Peter Yan a round, or maybe there is a significant round in this fight which goes to Peter Yan and everybody gives it to him, but I don't see him doing any more than that. I don't see Peter Yan being better than Merab for anything more than a 5-minute period at any point in this fight, and otherwise it's just going to be Merab, I think, going for takedowns, and if he lands 11 again, he's going to win this fight. I don't know why people are putting so much emphasis on that by saying that he only landed a small percentage of the takedowns he attempted. He attempted 49 and only landed 11. But at the end of the day, he's an absolute nightmare to face. He is a cardio machine who will not stop relentlessly trying to take you down. And I don't think he's in any way going to be fatigued or worn out or suffer any issues from the fact that he is fighting for the fourth time this year. I just think he has managed to stay in unbelievable shape. He stayed ready the whole time. He's obviously looking at establishing his name, establishing his legacy, and is focused primarily on creating that generational wealth for his family by taking on this ridiculous schedule and taking advantage of the fact that he is at his absolute peak and best right now, and he wants to cement his legacy, and he feels good fighting as much as he can, and that's what he wants to do, and the UFC are happy to oblige. So we'll oblige too here, and we'll take him to win this fight and to cover the minus 5.5, even though it's only at the price of 8-13. It's not beyond the realm of possibility here that Merab does find a finish. He did find one before. Recently, he found the finish against Sean O'Malley with the submission. So it is possible here, if it is that dominant, if he is putting on a clinic, the way to put the cherry on top of the cake would be for Merab to find a finish, and it's well worth a sprinkle on those 7-1s and 8-1s for the TKO or the submission, or to go into a place that offers you double chance bets on the on any kind of finish between rounds 1 to 5, because it's definitely a possibility. But our bet, even though it's juiced, very juiced, it does cover that selection as well. It does cover an early finish, and then it covers the scorecards where we need him to win by, it says 6, but as I explained to you, it's going to be 7 at least. So before we move on to the other fights here on the card I want to talk about, let me take this quick pause to tell you guys that we've partnered up with Kalshi, a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. You can check out Kalshi right now. New customers get $20 when they use the promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, and it's spelled KALSHI, and use the promo code SGPN. Let me also use this pause to tell you guys about Underdog, and that is your home right now for pick'em entries where you can win up to $5,000. Underdog's also got a brand new offer for new customers where you play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with the code SGPN. Let me also let you guys know we're brought to you by Novig, and Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. With Novig, you know you're getting the best prices because it's an exchange. It's available in 35 plus states. So download the Novig app now and get $50 when you spend just $5 if you use the promo code SGPN. So get in on the action with Novig and the promo code SGPN. And finally, let me utilize this pause to tell you guys about Rhythm, who have crushed the NFL this season, especially on props. And they've been really good specifically when it comes to identifying those unders. So get involved with Rhythm this weekend. Use the promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm now and use the promo code SGPN25.
I'm here with Ian Machado, Garry. Ian, congrats. That was a tremendous fight. A good, competitive, back and forth affair. Did Bilal surprise you here tonight? Because I know you were extremely confident in getting the finish.
No, that man didn't surprise me at all. There's a reason why he was the world champion, and there's a reason why he hasn't been finished in 9 years. I hit that guy hard. I hit him very hard, and he just kept coming. I split him up open early. Boom, boom, boom. He was looking for excuses to get out of there, but he's just a tough guy.
The hard work that you put in is clearly evident. He's a tremendous wrestler. He wasn't able to take you down once. I mean, that's just phenomenal work.
Yeah, well, when you've got this guy that was here a minute ago and Shavkat Rakhmonov, and you've got Islam Makhachev at the top of the division, you got to be ready to be able to stop people. I'm telling everyone this now. I'm phenomenal on the feet. I'm phenomenal on the ground if he can get me there.
Obviously, the welterweight division, we know it's on fire lately, and we know what you want. But with this victory here tonight, who do you want to fight next?
Listen, I just beat the #1 ranked welterweight on the planet, Bilal Muhammad, former champion. There is nobody else above him other than the world champion, Islam Makhachev. Bilal couldn't take me down, so Islam, you try to take me down. I'm telling you now, I'm the best in the world, and you have a duty to defend that belt against the best welterweight on the planet, and you're looking at him. It's Ian Machado, Garry. You come into my division, then you show up wherever you want in the world, and I'll be there. And I'm taking that throne from you, and I'm ending that continuous streak. You're done. There is nobody getting in the way of me and my future and me and my dreams. So sign the contract, and I will see you soon.
That's the way to make a case for a title shot. Your winner, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Machado, Garry!
There's lots of stars right now in welterweight, including yourself. But the rumor has it that Islam Makhachev wants to fight Kamaru Usman next. Do you think that's a fair fight to make next?
Do I think the champion of the world, the pound for pound, one of the pound for pound best in the world should fight a has-been? Someone who used to be great but isn't great anymore? No. Where is he now in the rankings? Someone mentioned the rankings earlier on, 8 or 9? Yes. The last fight he had was against a guy who had like 7 losses in the UFC? No. Islam Makhachev is a phenomenal fighter. And he needs to fight one of the young up-and-coming contenders, not a has-been who has no knees.
So I'm going to get back to UFC 323 in a minute because I want to address this subject. Now, Ian Garry, I have followed most of his career, and it's not like Ian Garry to be disrespectful to the legends of the sport. He doesn't sell his fights like that. He doesn't need to. He's never even really been as animated as he was with the call out at the end of the last fight. But there comes a tipping point for everybody where enough is enough. And this is very odd because I speak to Drew McIntyre, WWE wrestler, who also works under the TKO umbrella. And he was somebody who did everything that the company asked of him, turned up for every single autograph signing, every single media event, covered for people when other people weren't available, came in as a substitute. He did every single thing possible, carried the company through COVID as their champion, their COVID champion. And there's absolutely no reward for it at all. There's no thanks. There's no pay increase. There's no reduced schedule. There's no getting the belt back when crowds are back. Yeah, thank you carrying the belt for us during COVID. Thanks for turning up for work. Now we're going to go back to the guys who weren't even here during COVID. That's been the Drew McIntyre situation, and that's the situation with this company. They will not thank you for standing in. Now, I'm not saying that Drew McIntyre did that stuff for free, and Ian Garry didn't do anything for free either, but Ian Garry has been in a situation where he has constantly bailed UFC out. He has taken every single fight. He has said no to nobody. There hasn't been a huge jump with Ian Garry where you look at somebody who's on the edge of the top 15, but obviously you know that you can promote this guy. He speaks well. He looks good. He's obviously a face. He's got a face that you want to put on the posters. So it would have been so easy to just push Ian Garry through, to give him that warm body tomato cans and just plow him through. But no, he has systematically gone through this top 15. There's no fucking point having a ranking system if you're not going to adhere to the ranking system. He has plowed through your ranking system. Now, there is a guy who beat Ian Garry. It was a very close fight. Shavkat Rakhmonov did beat Ian Garry, but Shavkat Rakhmonov is on the shelf. Now, Ian Garry, I believe, is reasonable enough. If you said to him that you have to fight Shavkat and the winner of that will categorically receive a title shot, Ian Garry would take that fight. Ian Garry probably wants that fight. I think Ian Garry believes that he can win that fight because he was beginning to win that fight last time. And had that been a 5-round fight, I believe that Ian Garry probably would have taken rounds 4 and 5, but it wasn't. It was a 3-round fight, the same as the Bilal fight was. And guess what? Ian Garry won every single round of the fight, and he would have won 2 more rounds had it continued on. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that he will beat Islam Makhachev. That would be a crazy statement to come on here and make and say he's categorically going to win. But Ian Garry in this division is awkward as fuck. First of all, as I said, we have to put weight into the fact that he has plowed through the ranking system. What he's done is the exact reason why a ranking system exists. He is 6'3". He has a significant reach advantage, and he's shown that he's very, very difficult to take down because nobody fights Belal Muhammad and doesn't fucking get taken down. But Ian Garry, he was that guy. He avoided those takedowns. So if you're looking at a potential fight between Islam Makhachev and Ian Garry, and you're thinking it's going to look like Jack Della Maddalena, where Makhachev did whatever he wanted for 25 minutes, and you think it's going to look anything like that, it isn't going to look like that at all. This guy is a very awkward and difficult opponent for Islam Makhachev. He's the only person in the division who can give him an awkward matchup, give him a real fight, and could potentially beat this guy. There's a reason why Islam Makhachev wants to fight Kamaru Usman, because it's an easy night's work, because Kamaru Usman is a big name who is at the end of his career. It's an easy payday for Islam Makhachev. He does not want to fight Ian Garry, and the UFC should be doing everything that they can to make this fight, because if you don't make this fight, it makes a complete mockery of your ranking system, and Ian Garry should not take another fight. And I'm fucking glad that he's changing the way that he approaches things, rather than being a good soldier and just taking a fight here and taking another fight there and stepping in and saving UFC constantly. Now he's speaking up. And now at the same time, not only is he speaking up because he should, he's actually selling himself as a more marketable fighter. I know that Ian Garry doesn't want to force feed his way into Conor McGregor's shadow and for everybody to turn around and say, he's trying to be like Conor McGregor. He's trying to be like Conor McGregor. No, he's not trying to be like Conor McGregor. He obviously looks up to Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor comes from the same country as Ian Garry, and he's following in the footsteps of his idol. But he doesn't want to be accused of being Conor too, or just being some type of replica. And I think he's very carefully avoided that. But at the same time, you get the accusation where you're not as marketable as Conor, you're not as fun as Conor, you're not as likable as Conor. But now, organically, Ian Garry has been pushed into a situation where he needs to speak. And I agree, and I love everything that he's saying, from the interview in the Octagon to everything he's saying in the media. All of the interviews are spot on. Even if it means that you have to go against how you've been previously, which is disrespectful towards the legends, which isn't what Ian Garry's been all about, but it's correct. It's not as disrespectful when there is actually facts attached to what you were saying. So I think this is bullshit. There should be no other fight that can be made. Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev is a real fight. And it's a really awkward fight that I don't think Islam Makhachev wants any part of until he absolutely has to fight Ian Garry. And his preference would be to take the easy fight against Kamaru Usman, and for Ian Garry to go out there and take another risky fight that he doesn't need to take. Maybe a rematch against Prates, maybe waiting for Rakhmonov to come back, maybe taking a pointless fight with Leon Edwards, and there's no point taking that fight because Ian Garry would easily beat Leon Edwards. So there isn't anything left for him to do. Give him the title fight. It is the only fight to make next for Islam Makhachev. So we close out by looking at the co-main event. Lots of fights though I like on this card that I'm going to put on my betting card, which you can get by heading over to lockbetting.com. And you only need to purchase a soccer package this month, and that will get you the ultimate pack for the rest of December, which will include the UFC card for tonight. So lots of fights I like on it, but I do need to cover the co-main event here, which actually isn't one of my favourite fights. So that should incentivize you to go and get the card, because there are fights I like a lot better than this one. Andre Pantoja is taking on Joshua Van. Pantoja is the favourite here at 2-5. It's 2-1 here on Van. The method of victory market here says that 9-4 decision on Pantoja, 8-1 for Pantoja TKO KO, and 7-4 for him to find a way to win via submission. The Van prices are 9-2 decision, 5-1 TKO KO, 22-1 via a submission. The over-under for this is set at exactly over 3.5, and it's 10-11 for either way. 10-11 for over 3.5, 10-11 for under 3.5, so -110. The spread for this is Pantoja -5.5, and that's a 4-5 -125. And that is going to be my lean. I'm going to go for Pantoja on the handicap market. We talked about the 5.5 before, so it's not relevant here for Pantoja to win. He needs to be relatively dominant during this fight. He needs to be ahead on all of the scorecards, and he needs to be significantly ahead on 2 of the scorecards where he is given the fight 49-46. And I believe that is a possibility here for this fight. Pantoja is a fighter who is approaching all-time greatness status here in the flyweight division. He's won 8 straight and has made 5 straight title defenses, although he is reaching 35. And that's the only scary part here, because that could be a point where fighters, particularly at lower weight classes, do start to drop off a little bit. In Van, that's a tough contender who's only 24 years old. He has picked up 4 wins in the past 12 months to get himself up to number 1 contender status. And a lot of people do believe, because of the age difference of 11 years, he is a live underdog in this fight. In order to do that, he would need to be able to survive the ground with Pantoja, who is an extremely technically sound grappler. Van's output, volume, and confidence is sky high right now because obviously he's young, and even he's going to think that's an advantage, having only fought 17 times compared to 35 times for Pantoja and the 11-year gap. I don't think his time is now, though. I think this is where you take a lesson, and I think this is a lesson spot for Van. Rather than Pantoja. Obviously, Pantoja's chin needs to hold up. And as I said, this is where fighters begin to fall off. And there are going to be spots to fade Pantoja, but I think we can squeeze one more out of him here. So I'm going to go for Pantoja -5.5. I'm looking for him to get that finish inside the distance, because I don't want to be getting to those scorecards. I want him to find a way to win it, most likely via submission. I don't want to chance those scorecards and be looking for a wide margin, because UFC scorecards can be very weird. But ultimately, I have Pantoja winning this. But eventually, at some point, I do believe someone is going to get Pantoja, as he is 35 years old. And Van is a very credible opponent. He's dangerous, obviously, because of the age difference and the lack of fights that he's had. He's very fresh in this sport. So I think Van will eventually get there, but just not tonight, not against Pantoja. So I'm going to take Pantoja with the -5.5 in the Asian market to cover the fight spread. My lock here for this show, I hate doing this. I hate finishing the fight show for 2025 with such reduced selection, but I can only take a lock from the 2 fights that I covered. I don't want to give you something from the rest of the card, because then I would be giving away one of my best bets for free here on the show. And obviously that's not fair to the people over at lockbetting.com. So it has to be one of these 2 fights. I'm going to take Dirashvili to cover the spread of 5.5 at 8-13, which is -160 US price. As I said, not very sexy, not really how I want to finish the year, but hey, I can finish the year on a 12-1 run. So you've made plenty of money from me this year, namely when I took Terence Crawford as a significant underdog. There have been some incredible plays on this show this year. There have been some incredible locks, and we look to continue with that in 2026 if this show remains on a Sports Gambling Podcast Network on 2026, because I am considering moving it over to Lock Betting, because I don't feel that this show gets the love that it deserves here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Nobody promotes it. I mean, nobody promotes any of the stuff that I do. They're busy talking about other shows and promoting other podcasters, and not me, and not the Soccer Gambling Podcast. But the Soccer Gambling Podcast can survive But this show really does feel like a tree falling down in the woods, and it shouldn't be, because it should be glamorized and spoken about and recapped and promoted, and it isn't. And maybe it belongs on lock betting next year instead. So I haven't decided. I might start to transition that and split it between the two. Do certain fight shows here and certain fight shows over there. But ultimately, there may be some changes coming up in the new year. So look out for it. Obviously, as I've said, go to lockbetting.com to get all of my official plays. Be sure to check out all of the content that I've put out this weekend. There's been a lot of it. There's also a lot to come. A World Cup show will be posted on Monday, so be sure to check that out. But until then, good luck with all of your bets as always, guys. And thanks for listening.